Tonight we will be talking about beverages. So, on the world's top 10 is soda, caffeinated drinks, alcoholic drinks, and fortunately there's still water on the top 10. Soda, if you know, has a lot of sugar. To be exact, the average is about 6 to 7 teaspoons full of sugar for every can of soda. That's a lot of sugar. And if you ask doctors what happens if you drink or eat foods that are high in sugar, you get fatter. You get obesity. And if you don't, you say, I drink soda, but I don't really get bigger, you can have diseases like diabetes. And if you don't get bigger and if you don't get diabetes, there's still another one that you should watch out for. It's cancer. You know, years before, they did not have any data to link sugar, excess sugar, with cancer. But today, if you stick around until the rest of the seminars, I will show you what the World Cancer Research Fund is now telling us about excess sugar in our drinks, in our food. And one of the popular drinks today is, do you know this? Yes, it's milk tea. Well, it has a lot of calories. One serving could have as much as the same calories as 2 cups of rice. So you're trying to go on a diet and you say, you're cutting off your sugars, you're cutting off on rice, but just one serving, the regular serving of your milk tea can have as much as 2 cups equivalent of calories. And then if you were here yesterday, we talked about milk and how today the experts are saying milk shouldn't be a part of our diet because it causes cancer. And one of the bad things about it is because they have secret ingredients. You don't usually see the complete content of your milk teas. Maybe they just put their milk tea, sugar, or something, but they don't give you the other substances that they place there. For example, a few years ago, one brand of milk tea was found to have BEHP. It's a softener for PVCs, plastics. And when they were asked, it was a contamination, and they were asked, why did you place that BEHP in your products? That's illegal. And they said, well, we had to compete with the other brands. We had to make sure that our milk tea had a good texture, a good taste, and it was a stabilizer. So for the sake of competition, they had placed something that wasn't supposed to be there. And so the problem now is the other brands won't tell you what's in their products. And maybe we will just discover these things if there is a contamination or some food poisoning issues with them. And unless it happens, we will never know what they're hiding in their products. Caffeinated drinks. Caffeine is the most widely consumed drug. Yes, caffeine is a drug. You should remember that always. It is a drug. It is the most widely consumed drug in the world. In the Philippines, they have these statistics. 8 out of every 10 Filipinos drink coffee every day. That would be around 80 million Filipinos. And we spend 5 billion pesos a year for coffee. That's a lot of money. And there is no regulation. The products are not asked to label how much caffeine is in their products. There is no regulation in our country for that. So, I would ask you, you know what this thing is? It's an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And if in the Philippines, 80 million Filipinos are drinking coffee every day, and the average is around 2.5 cups per Filipino every day, if you do the math, that would be more than this. If you imagine that this Olympic-sized swimming pool would turn into coffee, you have to multiply it up to 18 to 20 times. That's the amount of coffee we consume every day. So that's 18 large Olympic-sized swimming pools, just coffee for Filipinos every day. And, as I've mentioned, there is a drug in coffee. It's called caffeine. So what's the problem with this drug? Now you see, you're here, you're not asleep, you're listening, right? You are awake, you are alert, and one part of the brain that is responsible for that is your reticular activating system, or RAS. Of course, it's much complex than just that part, but tonight I would like to tell you that this part of your brain is the one that keeps you awake. So that's why you're still listening to me. You're trying to process what you're hearing, and your brain is being stimulated. Now, what happens when you use coffee? Normally, when you wake up in the morning, the part of the brain, your RAS, will tell you, it will keep you awake until the rest of the day. But around 8, 9, and 10, the stimulus to your brain will begin to decrease, signaling that you get sleepy, right? Around 9, 10. Signaling that you have to rest. But if you have caffeine, if you drank caffeine in the morning, it will cause stimulation of your brain. And of course, coffee drinkers usually drink 1 cup in the morning, then probably another cup in the afternoon. By the time that your brain should normally start to rest, your caffeine will prevent that. It will keep stimulating your brain right here so that you're not able to sleep. So that's why a lot of coffee drinkers have sleeping problems. What's the problem with that? You know, that's the main point why some people drink coffee. They want to stay awake. You know, they don't want to sleep. According to a lot of scientists, brain rest is needed for learning and memory. It's needed for problem solving. It's needed for growth, repair, and even clearing toxic substances in your brain. That's why if you mess up with the design of the brain's natural way of trying to tell you, I'm tired, I need to sleep, you're messing up with all the other functions of your brain. Tiredness is a protective signal from your brain. Just like pain. When you get incised or you have a wound, there's pain, right? And that pain is telling you that there's something wrong. I'm injured. You have to do something. When you're injured, you do something about it. You don't just ignore it, right? Just like tiredness, the brain is telling you that you need to rest. It's telling you that you need to sleep. But for those who drink coffee, they don't want to listen to that signal. They just don't want to listen to their brain saying, I'm tired, I need rest. People today ignore the brain's warning. They use caffeine to switch on the brain whenever they want. If the brain wants to sleep, it just, no, I don't want to sleep, I just want it on. So they use caffeine. It's like a switch. Problem is, it doesn't have a shut-off switch. It's just an on switch. But you see, a lot of people will say, but coffee has something good in it. It has a lot of antioxidants. Well, you're correct. It has a lot of antioxidants. And actually, in the Western countries where fruits and vegetables aren't their main food in the table, coffee is probably their main source of antioxidants. But there's a problem with that. You see, you always hear of news that there's reasons why you should drink coffee, and there are news that say, well, it reduces the risk of death. And they quoted the largest study ever made about coffee and your mortality. Well, tonight I'm gonna tell you, I read the whole article. Here's the article. It's published in the New England Journal of Medicine. And they found out that coffee drinkers were more likely to smoke. They were more likely to drink, they were more likely to consume more red meat. They were less active, and they consumed lower levels of fruits and vegetables. Now question, are the things you see in the screen, are they helpful or not? They're not, right? So that's one of the findings. Then, here's the result of the study. Coffee consumption was associated with increased mortality. Is that good? No. The actual study is telling us that those who consume coffee die earlier. So how come were they able to use this study to say that you can actually live longer? Here's how they did it. In the real world, I told you, most coffee drinkers are smokers, alcoholic drinkers. They eat more red meat, or they're less active, and they consume less fruits and vegetables. But they did an adjustment. They said, let's imagine that they were, you see, it's obvious that these are killers, smoking, alcohol. It's obvious for them. Let's imagine that they were not smokers. Let's use statistics to adjust. So they change it. So they subtracted all the risk that you get from smoking, alcohol, red meat, and the rest. And so they would like to think, they would like you to imagine, how about if they were not doing all those bad behaviors? And that's why they found the final analysis was that, well, maybe you wouldn't really die of drinking coffee. But that was after adjusting all the variables. But this is not what really happens in the real world. But even after they adjusted the variables, they found out that there was still a positive association with mortality from cancer. Meaning, even if they already tried to adjust it, still the cancer risk was increasing. The more you drink coffee, they found that the cancer just increases still. And they would like to keep you in mind that the study is just around 8 ounces of cup, 100 milligrams of caffeine, not this one. Because if you're drinking this one, that's around 3 times the amount of caffeine and more calories. And that's the kind of coffee that will send you earlier to your grave. And so they concluded, if you want to improve your health, it's better to focus on other lifestyle factors, such as increasing your activity, quitting smoking, or eating more whole grains. Because that is the thing that really matters. When the variables that they adjusted, that's it. That's the most important things that you can do to make your life longer. And of course, people love to hear good news about their bad habits. That's why they're very happy about those kind of studies. Now, you might have heard from a lot of people that alcohol is good for your heart, right? It's been around. So they say there's antioxidants in their alcohol that protects your heart. We've heard it from Dr. Sabangan a few nights ago. But if let's say it's good for your heart, it's not good for your brain. You see, it affects your judgment and coordination. It's linked to young onset dementia and a lot of mental illnesses. And not only that, not only your brain, you can basically say alcohol will cause cancer from every system. You can just pick from your mouth, your throat, voice box, pancreas, breast, colon, and rectum. It's all solid science now. They've proven that alcohol will cause all of these cancers. And if alcohol is good for the heart, why is it that the American Heart Association not recommend it? The American Heart Association does not recommend drinking alcohol for your heart. Because they found out that it is addictive and even it can worsen your other health problems. That's why even if they say that there's a small chance that it could protect your heart, overall, It's not. It's causing addiction and another health problems. And for us to count, it's around 60 types of diseases and 200 others according to the World Health Organization. So I don't know if you would like to trade, a little decrease in risk of heart problems versus 60 more other diseases and injuries and 200 others more. And in a study published in The Lancet, they found that alcohol is more harmful to society than heroin. Now, you can forget about shabu and tobacco and all of this. They're nothing compared to alcohol. Alcohol is the most destructive drug on earth. It's not drug. It's not the other drugs that we know. Overall, do you understand that? The harm to others and the harm to users caused by alcohol exceeds all the other drugs that we know. So, if, we're trying to say that don't do drugs, but if you're drinking alcohol, that's worse. That's worse than doing drugs, according to the study. Alcohol is the leading implicated substance in accidents here in the Philippines. Alcohol is linked to crimes. And sadly, alcohol is the #1 substance in domestic violence. So, nothing good about alcohol. And if you're trying to defend that heart benefit, which is actually today it's a big question mark already, you're trying to compare this little benefit against cancer, liver injury, brain damage, accidents, family violence, and crimes. I don't know how you exchange that, right? This is a very small, questionable benefit against all of these problems that you would have to go with. And so all the major health institutions do not recommend alcohol. So doctors should actually not recommend alcohol at all. There are. Because of cancer, health problems, and violence. And if you really want that protective ingredient, substance they say it's in wine, it's actually as Dr. Sabangan said, it's found in grapes. Or actually it's also in peanuts, cranberries, and blueberries. So you can have those without having cancer and, domestic violence. Water is I guess this is the best drink that we have. Water is a universal solvent. We use it for the various biochemical processes in our body. We use it for movement and for temperature control. The 6 to 8 glasses is actually a number that's not fixed. The amount of water that you take in each day depends on the temperature, it depends on your activity, and probably your body size. I would like to end here. In this world, we drink water to satisfy our thirst. There is a lot of things that distract us in this world that offers satisfaction. But in John 4:15, Jesus says, "But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life." Jesus is the only water that could satisfy our longings.